Hello, welcome to Table Talk. Now, since my self-imposed music ban on the channel, I've been trying to work out how I can do some form of channel introduction as part of all the videos that go out, so that when someone comes across one of my videos who's perhaps not come across the channel before, they instantly, before they even get into the video, get an understanding of what model kit stuff is all about. So I think I've finally got that done and happy with it. Do you want to be the first to try it? Go on then, let's roll them. Welcome to Model Kit Stuff, where you'll find all of this. So a big welcome to this week's Table Talk. What did you think of the new title sequence? It's about 34 seconds long or something like that. Tells you pretty much everything that we cover off. And of course, Table Talk is under that broad more bracket. If you are a new subscriber to the channel, a massive welcome. Table Talk is something we do every week just to talk about what's going on, what's going down, what's happening in model kit stuff world. It gives you a bit of a look at some of the builds. We talk about the future plans to a certain degree at least, and other things that are going on and what have you. And sometimes I ask you your views, and I would like your view of that little trailer. I think, if you've never come across model kit stuff before, I think that would be enough to grab you, to make you want to go and have a look at what else is in the channel. And I think if most modelers, if they had a look at what's in the channel, they'd probably find something they might be interested in, even if they're only interested in it occasionally when that specific type of video comes out. So that's the idea, that's the plan. Yeah, we will start running that and start adding that onto videos as they start coming out. Now, some videos for next week are already loaded up, so you probably won't see it for a week or so, and then it'll start appearing. I don't know, we'll see. And yes, it does have a bit of music in, but it's music that's come from YouTube itself. YouTube advises is royalty free and free to use. So YouTube can't really go back on itself, can it? I've got to say, most of the music that YouTube will supply creators for free, pretty naff. But if you shop around and spend a lot of time listening to sometimes you can find segments in tracks that will work. I'm not planning on messing around finding different tunes for different themes, which is what I used to do. It'll just be that one intro at the start of every video so that people know who I am. That's the basic idea. Right then, we've got a few things to talk about this week. We've got a couple of important dates coming up. And last week I left you pondering what could be coming up as my stash ad that's a bit less left of field. We'll come back to that later on. The eagle-eyed amongst you will have noticed there is a change to the desk. Well, one of the changes is usually there's a load of stuff here ready for the video. I deliberately haven't put anything on because I wanted to show you this. I have changed my covering now. I've just done a video on this. Because I was at the point where naturally I would replace my cutting mats, and I had to ask myself, why am I replacing my cutting mats? And the answer was, they look a bit scruffy, but they were perfectly serviceable as cutting mats. Not only that, I was buying quite expensive cutting mats really as table covers. Makes no sense. So what I've got now is a bit of thin silicone, fraction of the price, does the job exactly the same, and in fact there might even be some additional benefits to it. So I have changed to silicone and keeping a cutting mat to hand, and you only really need a small one. I'm struggling to think when I need to cut something longer than that, but I have two A3s and two A4 cutting mats currently, and I have a much larger one that I am actually going to throw away because it's covered in glue, and I used it for many years, and it's now not really flat, and that's no good. So I'm going to keep my cutting mats, and probably I'll never need to buy a cutting mat again. I can just keep using those for cutting. I might go over with some white spirit and wash them down. Someone said you can put them in a dishwasher, but I wouldn't want to try. Anyway, having said that, yeah, I'm quite happy. I've been using this about a week now, and it's going really well. The other advantage for me is, which is something I was looking at, is there's no grid on this, so that should help with my autofocus on the new camera, and stop it trying to focus in on the grid squares. It also means it's clearer to see some of the model components, and they contrast better against the grey. So all good, lots of wins in that. So stash ads. I've added another kit into the stash, a ship that usually retails for around about 120 quid. If you shop around you can find it just around the 100 mark. I managed to pick it up for 55 quid, and it had master barrels in it and some wood overlay deck. So that would have been another 20-25 quid on top of that. So an utter bargain, and it's a ship that's been on my to get list for some time, and I've just been waiting around. I do that, I wait to see if I can get it at a better price. And sometimes it works, and sometimes I wait for years and then finally find one, and sometimes I don't. I end up biting the bullet or ending up paying a price because I want to make sure I get the kit. So it's one of those. Having said that, there is a kit on eBay at the moment that's, I'm not going to tell you what it is. It's a German tank, 1/16 scale, and it's going for 85 quid, and the cheapest I've found it in retailers is like £1.29, £129, I should say. So it's a significant bargain, and it's full interior, and it does look very nice. The manufacturer makes me go a little bit, but it's in the UK. It's not coming from China, and I've not noticed or anything. So anyway, if I make the decision, it's in my basket at the moment while I mull it over. If I make the decision to purchase it, then you'll be the first to know here on Table Talk. Right then, so a few weeks ago I bought something a bit left of centre for any modeler really, but yeah, I bought a classic kit, which is to say it was released in the 70s, and I don't think it's really been re-released since. You want to know what it is? Birds. Yeah. So I think Airfix released 4 of these in the wildlife series. There was an owl, there was robins, and I forget what the other one was. Was it a kingfisher maybe? I think it might have been a kingfisher. Someone will tell me in there. I was actually after robins, but because my stepdaughter's called Robin, and Paula, my partner, really likes robins, and the plan was to get robins and build them for her. But they are so expensive compared to these because there's so much more blue tits around. So it would appear that in the 70s, when people were buying these kits, if they bought robins, they were much more likely to build it than if they'd bought blue tits. So I don't know whether that's just because they're harder to build or whatever. Anyway, we've got a nice original release. I do think there was another brand that re-released them. May not have been in the UK, but I do think they were re-released under another brand. But it is so rammed with stuff that I've not been able to get the box back on. There is so much stuff in here. But yeah, we're going to do you're going to see a first impressions on this very soon. And that's going to be a little airbrushing project. And that is, I've never done anything like it before. The closest I've ever done is paint a horse for the Polish Lancer, and I did it all over brown, and it looked like a statue carved out of a block of chocolate. It looked nothing like a real animal. So there's some real challenges in there. The kit itself fairly simple to put together, but there is some real painting challenges there, and I'd love to be able to do it on my airbrush. So that's a little future project at some point. I'd love to know if anyone's ever built this and what they thought of it, or whether you bought into these, or indeed if you've got it in your stash. Yeah, I mean, people must have bought them, but the fact that they've never really released them makes you wonder how many they actually sold, doesn't it? But yeah, so yeah, I told you it was a bit left of field. Blue tits. Yeah, I don't think I've seen anyone build blue tits on YouTube yet. You don't need to respond to that, just in case we get inappropriate answers. And keeping with stash ads, I was very much hoping that by the time I came to record this, I'd have the brand new Airfix Lifeboat starter set in my hands. I've paid for it, but I believe it's gone out for delivery, but I haven't seen anything yet, and I've not had an email from DPD yet to say when they plan to deliver it. So I'm sort of hoping it comes tomorrow, but it does leave me with a bit of a problem, because my plan has always been, as soon as the Lifeboat arrived, because it's a starter set, to just build it and stop everything, spend a week and a half building it, job done, another build out of the door, a little bit of interest because it's a brand new kit, see what we can do with it, and then pick everything back up and carry on. The problem is Airfix are releasing everything in close succession at the moment. Bulldog, Chinook, now the Lifeboat. I haven't got time to do the plan, because I decided when the Bulldog turned up, because it's the same colours as the B-17, that I could build that side by side with the B-17, and I'd hardly noticed that I was building another kit. So yeah, I was sort of expecting that maybe back end of July or maybe early August we might get the Lifeboat, but it's on its way. So I'm not going to be doing that, but what we are going to do is we're just going to shoehorn it in after the B-17 and quickly rip through it, and probably do the whole build in one video. What I want to do is I want to use my experience at building ships to build it, but try and use what came in the starter pack. So I'm not saying I won't use my airbrush, but I'll use the acrylic paints that was given to me, unless of course the paints are ruined, which sometimes happens with a brand new release. You hope not, but sometimes it's dried up and you're not going to get them back. They can be a bit hit and miss, so we will have to see, but the plan is to build it. Now I also got the additional decal set, which gives you all the lifeboats of that type in current surface, so you can do the one that's local to you, which I'm not going to do. I'm actually going to do the one from Scarborough, because I'm familiar with that one. I've been to Scarborough many times. I really like Scarborough, probably my favourite seaside destination in the UK. Well, not probably, definitely. And I've been up close and personal with that Lifeboat several times. So I'm gonna do the Scarborough one, and then we'll chuck the decals on eBay, or maybe offer them to you guys if you want the decal sheet. We can possibly do that. So yeah, that's sort of the plan. So when the B-17 ends, the plan has always been the tempo diorama, and then the Space 1999 1/48 scale, I think it is, eagle. But what we're going to do is we're just going to shoehorn the Lifeboat in just before it, and you know, I don't think that's more than a 2-week build. It should be fairly simple as it's a starter set. I have had a look at it online. Part count is low. The moulding is good, so it should be simple clean up, click together. So building process will be short. So it's then down to painting. If you do it, I mean, you do it to a museum standard, because these things are spotlessly clean, they're well maintained, so there ain't no weathering to be done on it, other than maybe adding a bit of shadow. I will do a bit of, it comes on a little base which in the instructions they tell you to do black, but I'm going to do mine yellow with some rust stains and make it look like the boat's on a cradle. Is my plan, I think. But anyway, that's what we're going to do. That's the plan. Right, so before we get into what happened on the modelling bench and stuff like that, let's talk about what happened last week. We kicked off the week on Monday with airbrushing for complete beginners part 6. And as I've said before, I'm trying to do this in a methodical way, that if you're just getting into airbrushing and just starting out, you can follow the sequence of videos and they will make sense on your journey getting to grips with airbrushing. So we dealt with problem solving. Now, I could have done that earlier on, but the truth of the matter is, when you first get an airbrush, you put some paint in it and you get going, and it works first time, and then it's second or third time that, why is this not working? Because you've stripped it down, you've cleaned it, you've moved things, it's not as it was. So that's why we've done it there. We've done blanket painting, if you like, you know, full on air, number 5 needle, blah blah blah. But then we've done that. So the next thing is about learning about finesse, about how to control the instrument so that you're dictating what happens and the airbrush isn't dictating to you what's happening, which I think is certainly how I started out. I started out by just doing blanket painting because I couldn't get my head around how I can do fine painting, and people paint tiny model figures with airbrushes, you know, 1/35 scale 58mm figures with an airbrush, and it's a pure skill, and it's not just about coming with experience, it's about practicing the techniques involved to be able to do that. So we're going to cover that off a little bit. Now, someone asked me about explaining different needle sizes, and I think in one of the videos I very basically said, you know, the bigger the needle, the more paint you're going to be putting down, also the more paint you're going to be going through. But what we're going to do is we're going to explain that a little bit more. We're going to talk about correct needle for the job, and various other little bits, and show you how to practice control. Lots of people have heard of dots and dashes. Dots and dashes takes you so far, but there's a lot more you can do to learn some control. So I'm not going to say anything more. We'll save it for the next video, which will be part 7. So we're sort of coming towards the end of the airbrush tutorial season, but then I've got some more airbrush videos I want to do. So last week we got the new gallery airbrush to talk about. We're going to talk about how to personalize and upgrade your airbrush and why you might want to do that, the reasons behind it and how to go about it, and then I'm going to do a video on the needle caps, because I think a lot of people don't understand and think, as I did for many years, that it's just there as a protector for the needle, but no, they have a purpose, and we'll talk about why you might want to have more than one. So all of that is coming up on that. They've been genuinely well received, more so at the start. I think more people were interested in what's the best airbrush, and went into the video and possibly got a bit disappointed because I quite quickly said no, that's the wrong question, and they've had a lot of views, those, which is nice. It's tailed off a little bit as we've got into the meat and gravy of it, but you know, they're there now for anybody who comes along, and I'm getting a lot of positive comments every time they go out, so I'm really happy with how they're going. I'm not rushing these out. I want to make sure that they're right and I'm happy with them. Then of course we had the Chinook on Wednesday, which again, I'd recorded the table talk video just before it had landed. A really nice kit. I've never built a Chinook before. A really nice kit, a reasonably good size model in 172. I think it's more of a skill level 2 than a 3. Like I said in the video, it's a sort of borderline. I couldn't see anything that was particularly tricky, whereas the Bulldog, which is also a skill level 3, the cockpit in there is pretty tricky to put together. You know, you need a third set of hands and additional fingers to sort of get it all together. It's quite a tricky build. So whether there's something in the Chinook that is not obvious from the instructions, I don't know, but from looking at the instructions and looking at the parts, I don't think anyone who's got half a dozen kits under the belt ain't going to struggle with that, I don't think. So very nice model. I think I'll probably end up doing the Falklands one when that time comes, for the reasons I gave out. I wasn't in that rump of people rushing to get it out, and so it's had a few less views. It's had more views than a regular first impressions, but a few less than if you're like one of the first to get it out. But I don't want to put myself under pressure, and it messes around with my schedule and it messes around with my head, quite frankly. So, you know, if I get it out within a week or two, it's still out there, isn't it? Anyway, and I know quite a lot of you watch my first impressions, even if you've seen somebody else's, because I do like to go in depth. Many of you like it. I know one or two of you don't, but that's what the fast forward button's for. But many of you do, and that's how I'd like to see first impressions, so that's how I do it that way. And then we had more B-17, and that's one of the dates coming up that we need to talk about. So let's have a look at where I'm up to, because the group build finishes on the 1st of July, and that is very soon. That is Monday. We'll talk all about that in a minute, but first of all, I'm recording this Thursday lunchtime, so this is where I am Thursday lunchtime. So on the B-17 front, we are at the point where I've done some unmasking. I've finished painting the aluminium on, and we've removed the paint masks. They're not perfect, got a bit of touching up to do, down to me not getting them on as perfectly straight as I thought I had, to be honest. But yeah, you can see we've got it on the underneath there. You can also see the tail end's not uncovered. I'll talk about that in a minute, but I'm quite happy with the panelling there. Next thing is to give it a gloss coat and add the first level of shine onto it. I've got to paint the little black bit that goes on the leading edge of the tail there, which I've cut into the masking. Hope that I've got the shape right, and we'll paint that black, and then we'll take all of that off, clear coat it, which will allow me then to put all the decals on, and then we'll paint on the olive drab in the against the engine nacelles and the front of the nose there, so that I think that it was to stop the pilots getting the sunlight reflected in. That has to be matte, so whereas the rest of it's fairly glossy, that has to be matte. Then we'll give before we put the matte on, we'll give everything a second gloss coat, seal the decals in, and that should then give us a nice shine. And then we'll do the matte and seal that in, and then that is the main bit of the aircraft done. Anything else that's not stuck on the aircraft just yet has now been primed. Here's a picture. And they just need painting up and assembly and going on. So this weekend, big push, I will have it finished. The following week, we will try and finish the build diaries of the B-17 as well. So that'll be the week from the 1st of July. So I'm hoping to have a build diary out on my usual Friday slot and a Tuesday slot. It could be Thursday if I've not managed to get things edited together in time. Could be Thursday. We will see. We will see how the weekend goes and what have you. That's the plan. Now, my moderators, Gary, Jeff, James, I will drop you an email and let you know what the plan is when I'm fairly sure of it, and try and give you as much notice as I can. I will try and edit the videos over the weekend as well. So we'll see how we go. But I'm really happy with the look of the metalwork. First time I've tried doing that, so went as well as could be expected. I'm really happy with the A-stand paints, but boy, they stink. So not something I'm going to be using a lot of. Much worse than enamels. Horrendous stink. So I've been doing these painting late at night and then going to bed to let it all settle. But on the whole, other than a couple of mishaps, everything else has gone to plan. I've got a little bit of tidying up to do on the paint masks, like I say, but otherwise all gone to plan pretty much. So quite happy with it. So be nice to get this over the line. Now the green stripes on the back have been umming and ahhing. I'm gonna attempt the decals just so I can show people how to get around the little problem of getting it over the detail on the door, which will get in the way of it. But that can be solved. There's a couple of different ways of going around it. So I'm going to attempt the decals, and if I'm not happy and I can't get them to sit straight and what have you, then we'll just get the Brunswick green gloss out and airbrush the stripes on. Simple as. So as of the 1st of July, you can start sending in your photos of your completed B-17s. Send them to modelkitstuff@gmail.com. I think 4 photographs should be enough to give us a good view of your completed build. So just like before, if I can have the brand, the scale, the aircraft name, and your name or channel name, or both, however you want it presented. And I will try and format the video so that we get everybody's. So please don't send them before the 1st of July, because I won't be looking out for them, and I skim my emails, and I'll do searches to find certain things. So I may well miss them if you send them before the 1st of July. So 1st of July for about a week. Give you a window of a week, so you've got a chance to sneakily finish it if you just need an extra day. Not a problem. I might do that, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I'll give you a week to get those photos in. So then we'll close it after a week, and at that point I'll edit the video up, and that might take me another week. So middle of July we should get the finished group build. I have no idea how many are actually going to be in there. We started off with 53 people saying they were building. 1 or 2 people have reached out to me for various reasons and had to sort of drop out of it. You know, that's life. Things happen, circumstances change. You know, it's not an issue. What I'd say to everyone is thank you so much for joining and getting stuck in with it. It's only the 2nd time I've done a group build. It was way more popular than the commercial vehicle one we did last year. And yeah, people really got behind it. I think the subject matter and the time with that program being out on Apple and what have you, I think everything just sort of slotted together. So yeah, And I've really enjoyed the build so far. It's something quite different, and I've proven to myself that I can do a metal finish and be happy with it. You know, other people might criticise it and say, well, it could be better, but I'm happy with it. And at the end of the day, that's all that really matters. So yeah, there we go. Now then, I am building the Bulldog alongside, so let's have a look at progress on the beautiful Bulldog kit. So the Bulldog is more advanced in some ways than the B-17, because we were able to put paint down that much more quickly. So we have got most of the decals on her, and that is the upper surface of the top wing, and the zigzags, which I thought looked really cool, and thought, right, let's do that because they look great. They were horrid to put on. They moved all over the show, so getting them straight, getting them centralised, I still don't think they're perfect. In fact, I know they're not, but I'm not going to share why. They were, I wish I'd gone for the green stripe, to be honest. That'd be so much more easy. But anyway, I do think the zigzags look cool, and it's on, and we managed to get the roundels to sit nicely over the flaps there. So you just put them on, let it dry, cut them, and put some more softener on, was the plan. And then when we look at it on there, doesn't that look special? Let's see if we can zoom you in a little bit. Look at that. Come on, focus, 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 focus. No, it's not gonna, is it? Anyway, there you go. Maybe if I come level with it, it'll focus. So anyway, there you go. Really happy with it. Two different paint colours on here. Might not pick it out on the camera, but we've got a shiny metal, or it will be when it's been clear coated. So two different. We've got a lacquer paint and an acrylic paint system in play there. It's gone down really well. I've still got to put on the top here, we have a deep green colour that needs to go across it before we can do detail painting. But you need to do the decals at this point before you put the wing struts on and any rigging and stuff. And there is an error in the, well, an omission in the instructions for Airfix, which I will talk to you about in the actual build diary. They have you painting something the wrong colour, so we can sort that out. So yeah, really happy with the Bulldog. It's gone together beautifully. There we go, back again. So yeah, it's a really nice kit, and if you've been umming and ahhing about it, just get over yourself and buy one, because they don't cost much and they are absolutely stunning. The biggest challenge is going to be the rigging, definitely. Yeah, I'm sort of looking forward to that. That's the bit that'll be the time-consuming bit. I plan to do it in fishing line, so we will see. But I might just change my mind and go with Easy Line or equivalent. It's not the same brand. We will see. Obviously it should be flat, it shouldn't be round on British aircraft, so whatever one you do is not going to be dead accurate. So it's just about what's going to be easiest to install on this scale. I don't want to mess around with stretch sprue. I've got lots of fishing line that do the job. The stuff that I used on the Gotha would do. So yeah, we'll probably do that because it's got a bit of rigidity in it, but we will see. We will see. Not 100% decided yet, but yeah, really happy with the Bulldog kit. It's gorgeous. So the next important date is the 4th of July. No, not to celebrate wealthy Americans avoiding tax. This is about the Queen Mary 2. So poor old Queen Mary 2. We started the build with loads of enthusiasm, and then we took a break. Then we brought her back to finish her off, and then we started the Scharnhorst. And to be honest, my plan was always not to start the Scharnhorst until I'd finished the Queen Mary 2. But I wouldn't want to say I was pressured, but because there was an anniversary date coming up for Scharnhorst, Nigel was very enthusiastic to start the build on that date, and that we both launch on that date. So this is when we were planning on doing it as a buddy build throughout the build, and the idea was to keep him motivated to build it. And well, that's no longer happening, it appears. Still nothing been said to me directly from Nigel about it, but he's not mentioned it to me in ages, and it's clearly no longer doing anything on it. So unfortunately, I feel like I started the Scharnhorst a little earlier than I naturally would have done, and that's affected the Queen Mary 2 build. Now, the Queen Mary 2 build is half built because we built one half to get the videos out and keep the flow going. But I'm actually only ever going to build one half because it's getting displayed against a wall. You're never going to see the other end. So on the viewing angles, everything will be built. I need to close the Queen Mary 2 off. I spoke to Stephen about it. I wanted Stephen to be involved in the closing off of that process. And the truth be known is I don't want to pause the Scharnhorst to pick the Queen Mary 2 up again, because there's a lot of people now emailing me saying, when's Scharnhorst coming back? People that don't watch Table Talk and therefore don't know that we're just concentrating on getting the B-17 over the line for its end date, and then the Scharnhorst will be back in its glory. I've got material for the next video already done, so it's not a case of I'm behind or anything. It's purely a case of I'm behind on the B-17, and I've got a commitment on that. So I want to close the Queen Mary 2 out. The 4th of July will be 22 years to the day when her keel was laid, and that seems to make sense to me. Now, there's another compromise coming here, which is on all the deck chairs and all of that sort of stuff. So for it to be allowed to be displayed, it needs to be nice and tidy, and all the deck chairs apparently make it look a bit cluttered. And actually, I agree to a certain degree. The design of the ship is such that she looks beautiful until you put people on it, and then it's all a bit fuzzy. But of course, she's built for people. That's what she's supposed to do, and it's part of her having them on. So I am not going to get time to do anything more with her other than finish the painting that I want to do. So we're going to do that, and then my plan is on the 4th of July, which is Thursday next week, we'll put a video out which will feature the completion of the build, some final thoughts from Stephen and some final thoughts from me, and we can put that build diary to bed. I've got to be honest, nobody has chased me on it. I get chasers all the time on things that I haven't finished. In fact, I took the War Spy and the Arizona builds down because I was getting that many emails about when you're carrying on with the build. Haven't done that with Fly, but I still regularly get questions about Fly. But no one's come to me and said, when are you finishing Queen Mary 2? So there you go. I'm going to try and close it out on the 4th of July. Now, it's a try. It's a hope. If it doesn't happen, it'll be a day or two after. But that is the aim, and we'll be talking about 4th of July and that in the video. So there you go. That's the plan, an important date. It's been an extra build. I mean, we could have 3 builds next week. We could have 2 B-17s and a Queen Mary 2. Busy old week. Shall we talk about what's coming up next week as we've sort of moved on to that? So Monday is the big debate. We talked about it last week, so I don't really need to say much more. Other than some of you will have spotted that I did a live stream test during the week, and I finally managed to get my 4K camera to connect with my laptop and be able to live stream. So not only did I need the cable, but I needed a video capture converter box thingy. You plug it in basically, and it does something that makes it work. Who knows? But after watching a YouTube video on it, I realised that I didn't have that thing. So I got that thing, and now everything works. So all good. Which means in the future, Big Debates will be live, and we might do the second part of this one live as well. So if you miss it live, it'll still be out there to watch. You'll just watch it and it's no longer live. So yeah, new video type that we'll put in from time to time. Let's see how that goes on Monday. Really interested to see. And then we might do the answers live, and we can then have a bit more of a debate around those what people think about the question being posed. Then on Tuesday we might have a B-17 build, additional possibly. Then on Wednesday we have first impressions, blue tits. On Thursday, hopefully we'll have the Queen Mary 2 closeout video. We may possibly have both that and a B-17 video, in which case one of them will be a premiere and one of them won't. Don't know. We'll see how all of that comes together. And then on Friday, guess what? Another B-17 build. And that should get me very close to done. If I've managed to finish the build over the weekend, then if it's not done on that build, we'll put an extra one in to finish it off the following week. Be interesting to see how we get on by this time next week, won't it? Lots going on. Very, very, very busy week for me. But we still have some other things that we have to cross off. And while we're still on the subject of dates, yesterday, 28th of June, for those of you that like your rock music, and you all know that I do, and many of you are aware that I'm a big fan of The Warning, three sisters from Monterrey in Mexico. They have a new album out. There you go. It's called Keep Me Fed. I knew that. I don't know why I had to look. Keep Me Fed. I've listened to some of the songs live. They're really, really good. I'm recording this Thursday. This doesn't come out, this doesn't get released until tomorrow as I record this. HMV, in their wonder, have managed to deliver it to me a day early. Fantastic. So I'll be listening to that later on while I'm doing some modelling and, with the other hand, editing some videos. So yeah, don't miss it. It's their best album yet, most accomplished album, really polished. They're seriously going places, those three. Right then, special people, you're all special to me, one way or another. Anyone who watches the channel, supports the channel with comments and thumbs up, and have been buying kits and have been making donations and all of that stuff, all the interactions, joining the group builds, you know, I'm deeply appreciated of all of it. I enjoy doing this in no short measure because of you guys. But there's a couple of you that put a donation in to keep the cameras rolling last week, and as always I'll give you a personal thank you in this video. So Paul of Plastic Monkey fame, go and check his channel out if you've not seen it. He donates most weeks, so thank you very much, Paul. You know it's always appreciated. It's gone in the pot for some stuff that I've got planned coming up. And then we also had Conrad Robinson, a very nice donation from you as well, sir. Thank you very, very much. Really helpful. So they donated through my PayPal. You can find the link for that in the text underneath the video. YouTube have moved around the formatting. Gotta say I don't like it as much, but you know, I'm not in control of that. So it'll be in one of those boxes. I can never remember whether it was left or right. But yeah, in there you'll find a link from a PayPal. If you paste that into your bank account details and what have you, you can transfer money. It works. So the channel gets 100% of that money. Then if you do that, if you do it through Super Thanks, that's fine also. But please be mindful that I'm only getting 60%, and YouTube's taking the other 40%. For supplying the ability to do that. So very thankful for those of you that do contribute. It does make a huge difference because the revenue that comes from the videos is very, very small. Having said that, this week I got my revenue payment from YouTube, which went into the coffers, which was nicely received. About half as much as I get in the winter. That's how much drops off with people out and about on holidays doing DIY gardening and all the other stuff that the nice weather brings with it. It does mean that there's less people watching the videos and therefore less revenue. But on the flip side, I did have a little bonus injection this month from Gallery. So Gallery are rewarding me for all the sales by giving me a small sum of money, which I put into the channel. So really appreciative of that. Really, really helpful. There is still some nice kits to be released this year, and I'd like to hope that I can get hold of some of those as they come out. Someone very generously offered me a 1-200 aircraft carrier with an MK1 set, but just not affordable for me right now. I do have a couple of aircraft carriers, but in 1-350. And to be honest, if I was to buy another 1-200 ship kit, and it is a big if, in fact, a very big if, it would be either the Titanic or the Britannic, which is imminent. I've still not seen that come out, but I quite fancy the Britannic because it's essentially in many ways the same as the Titanic, as she's a sister ship. There are some subtle differences, but you can do that as a hospital ship, which of course is how she sank. Which means you've got more weathering options and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, Olympic I'm less interested in. Yeah, I mean she ran her life and what have you. Britannic's got a bit more of a story to it, I think. Obviously nothing tops the Titanic story in terms of sadness and just what a story, terrible events that captures everyone's imagination. I have a Titanic kit, 1-350, with everything you can throw at it, including lights. So at some point we'll do that on the channel. So maybe we'd do a Britannic in the 1-200. But at this moment in time, with monthly incoming income and buying occasional kits to make sure that we've got stuff for first impressions, I wouldn't stretch that without injecting some of my own money in. So something to think about when the kit comes out, because I would be very keen to get that one, I think. But there's plenty of other kits in 1-350, which is a more manageable size for the display cabinets and shelves and what have you. So not an issue. It's not like we're going to run out of ship kits to build. If anything, I'm just going to run out of time. But anyway, yeah, there we are. Right then, last week there was no interest in the kits I was attempting to sell, so none of those sold. So if you were interested and thought, well, it's probably gone by now, still you can drop me a line, modelkitstuff@gmail.com, and put a bid in, because it'll be a couple of weeks before I get around to putting those on eBay, and they'll be gone forever then. This week I've got another 3 to sell, but we're going to do it slightly differently this week. Just because one way or another the kits are low value. One of the kits was given to me, so there was no cost for me to recover. So anything that I get from that is a contribution to the channel. I have a number of 1-700 kits, and I'm never going to build them. They're just too small for me now, for my eyes, too fiddly, and yeah, I want to do bigger stuff. And so I'm sort of getting rid of them. They've lost their value to me. And then we've got an Airfix kit that I've had for some time. So what I'm going to do with these 3, I'll talk you through them in a moment. What I'm going to do is I'm just simply going to ask for postage. plus a bid. Now, the postage will be slightly different on all of them, because the prices went up silly money, and on average it's costing me £8 to post a kit, but that's to insure it and to cover the value up to £50. And to be honest, if the kit's worth more than £50, I'm taking a risk. If the post office lose it, then I'll lose the money, because I'll have to give you the money back, and I'm out of pocket. But it's worth the risk, because otherwise you're paying silly money on the postage and I'm not making the money. It's the same problem I have if I put it on eBay. If I do put kits on eBay, I put them as free postage and build the postage in, because the predetermined postages on eBay are not enough to cover the cost, the actual real costs. And then by the time, you've almost got to sell the kit for much more than it's worth, because by the time eBay have taken their cut and you've taken the postage off, you're losing. You're losing. You might as well just keep the kit. Anyway, with all that being said, model kits in the main do not generate value. Wingnut wings is a separate issue, but they don't generate issue. When you look at the cost of buying them second hand when they're 40 years old, they're actually, when you look at the exchange rate and take into account the interest rate over the years, that they're not appreciating, they're standing still. So the Corvette was pretty much worth now what it was in the 1980s when it came out. It's just that figure is now 3 figures, where it was 2 figures in the 80s. But, you know, just like I can't buy a loaf of bread for 30p anymore. So these don't appreciate in value. So there's no point holding on to them thinking one day you're going to make a load of money on them, because you ain't. If you want to make money on things, buy Lego. You can make huge money on Lego, which is why Lego will only let you buy 5 kits, because there's lots of people that do that. I have sold Lego sets for 3 or 4 times what I paid for them 2 or 3 years before. Bonkers. Right, so this is the Tamiya 1700 King George V waterline series, and when we open the box, you can see that in there is some Edward etch for it. So you've got railings, and you've got guns and anchors, and good quality cranes and funnel caps and all that sort of stuff. It's out of its bag, because we did do a first impression on it back in the day. So I haven't checked how much this goes for now, but it's got the full etch set from Edward in there, and that would have been 15-20 quid probably at the time. So offers over 5 quid. 5 quid covers my postage. So the only if you offer me £5 and no one else goes for it, then all I'm doing is covering my postage and creating some space in the attic. But it needs to go. And if I put it on eBay, I'd have to put it on at 30 quid or something just to break even. So it's there for you guys if you want it. It's in good condition. I can send that out to you. Postage estimate is £5, so we'll say offers over £5. Do me a favour and make it 6, so at least £1 goes into the channel. But yeah, there you go. £5 or above, highest bidder wins. 1/48 scale Spitfire, skill level 2. It's a Mark 22-24. It's a discontinued kit now. The kit number is A061018. It's just the kit in there. The box is massive compared to the contents. But yeah, no doubt it'll build up into a nice kit. We have first impressioned it, so the bag is open and the flying hours is missing, but it's all there. Never started or anything. So I think I'm asking £7 posted. Yep. So any offer over £7 and the highest bidder wins. And again, send an email to modelkitstuff@gmail.com with your bid, and on the Wednesday I will tell you whether you've got it or not. Right, the Tamiya Thunderbolt 2, what scale is it? 148? Yeah, 148. I have done a first impressions on this if you want to check it out. It's an old kit now, but it's still a good kit. Will go together really well. It comes with tons of ordnance and stuff like that. It's quite heavy, so I'm asking £8 for this. That's posted. So I think it'll cost me £8 to get it posted. So if you'd like to offer me a bid of 9 or above, that'd be nice. But the minimum I'll accept is 8. You might as well make a bid on it. You might be the only bidder and get yourself an absolute steal. But yeah, there you go. Offers over £8, highest bidder. So just to reiterate, if you want one, send me an email, modelkitstuff@gmail.com, with your bid. I may not respond because I get lots of them, but I will respond on the Wednesday and let you know whether you've won or not. And then I'll ask for your address, and you use the PayPal link to make the payment. Don't make the payment until I prompt you. That way I'm looking out for it, and you know, I basically close it Wednesday afternoon when I get to have a look at it. That gives anyone a chance who doesn't watch the Table Talk until a little bit later in the start of the week. So there you go, 3 kits we're selling, all of them bargains. Highest bidder wins on all of them. So thank you very much for joining again this week. I think that's it for this week. I have got lots and lots on, as you can see. We'll see how it pans out. Might not get it all over the line, don't know. Put your last ditch effort into your B-17, get it over the line. Start taking your photographs. 4 photographs, send them to Model Kit Stuff with the manufacturer, the scale, the name of the aircraft, and your name stroke channel name if that applies, and start sending to me as of Monday, not Sunday, not in a minute, Monday, because I won't be looking for them till then and I don't want to miss any. Okay, so there you go. Hope that was interesting. Lots going on, as you can see. Looking forward to seeing you next week, and I may well see you before that in 1 or 2 builds with a bit of luck. So thanks very much for joining. You enjoy your modelling, and I will see you very soon. Bye for now. Thanks for watching. Please hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't done so. It's free, and that way you won't miss my first impressions, my tool reviews, my product reviews, and any of my builds, including wooden model kits as well as plastic. It's all free, and if you'd like to support the channel, you can hit my PayPal link in the text below. Every pound goes straight into the channel to keep the cameras rolling and to do more fun stuff for you to watch.